China has slapped more sanctions on U.S. defense giants Lockheed Martin and Raytheon over arms sales to Taiwan. Both firms have been added to Beijing's unreliable entities list. Under the new regulations, Lockheed Martin and a subsidiary of Raytheon Technologies will not be able to engage in import and export activities related to China. The two firms were sanctioned by China last February after a $100 million arms sale to Taiwan. At that time, Beijing said the sales undermined China's security interest, Sino-American relations, as well as peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. CNA's Olivia Seong joins us live from Beijing with more details on this. Olivia, could escalating tensions jeopardize future meetings between U.S. and China's top diplomats?
Well, Jill, we already know that potential meeting was already up in the air, so to speak, because of this ongoing alleged Chinese spy balloon incident. The Chinese Foreign Ministry today saying that the handling of the incident is a test of the sincerity of the U.S. and the ability of the U.S. to properly manage a crisis and to stabilize China-U.S. relations, saying that the U.S. cannot be asking for communication while it says it's escalating tensions. So that already putting a big question mark on whether the two top diplomats of these two superpowers will be able to sit down on the sidelines of potentially that Munich Security Conference. Also not forgetting these talks have not been confirmed by both sides. It comes after U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken had postponed his long-awaited visit to China following this balloon incident, which was meant to put a flaw on relations that have deteriorated in the last few years and meant to build on the momentum from that last meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and his U.S. counterpart Joe Biden on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Bali last year. And it would seem that both sides may still find incentive to manage the competition between both sides. But with the latest news that China is placing those sanctions, as you mentioned, on U.S. military contractors for supplying weapons to Taiwan, this would likely make any potential talks even more difficult. Although it's not entirely clear how these sanctions would impact these military firms, as sales of weapons-related technology has mostly been barred by the U.S. To China.
And as you mentioned, throw into the sanctions blacklist mess this war of words between Washington and Beijing over the alleged spy balloon. Can you update us on that?
Well, this war of words showing no signs of abating. Today we are hearing the Chinese top legislature, the National People's Congress, releasing a statement hitting out at the U.S. House of Representatives, which had unanimously passed a resolution condemning China for the use of the alleged spy balloon, which had flown into U.S. airspace, which is something that China continues to deny. It says that it had been an unintentional incident and that the balloon was meant for civilian purposes. And today we are seeing this statement released from the top legislator calling the U.S. House of Representatives moves an ill-intentioned hype and political manipulation. This comes also as this week China has for the first time accused the U.S. of flying its balloons illegally over its airspace multiple times. And today, according to the Communist Party link Global Times, we are seeing them quote aviation authorities saying that there was an unidentified flying object, later said to be a balloon, found in Shijiazhuang in the north of China. It said that the situation has caused widespread delays at the local airport and the diversion of planes to other airports. Although no further details have been given, this is not the first time that China is reporting an unidentified flying object. We heard about a similar situation last weekend being reported by authorities in Shandong province. And we know that China has vowed to take necessary measures towards a similar situation after it had been angered by the U.S. shooting down this alleged Chinese spy balloon. Now concerns from observers that this could raise tensions in other areas like the disputed South China Sea where the U.S. also operates.
Updating us on all things from China, Olivia Xiong reporting from Beijing with those details.